I don't know why I agreed to meet Daniel. Maybe it was the nagging sense that I couldn't protect Emily from him forever. Maybe it was the hope, however faint, that things could somehow be different. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. It was the need for closure. The need to understand why he did what he did to me, and to my daughter. I had always believed that if I could just confront him, I could find the answers that had haunted me for so long. I had spent years thinking about what I would say to him, imagining all the things I should have done, all the questions I should have asked. But now that the moment had arrived, I didn't feel any sense of triumph or satisfaction. I felt like I was walking into a trap. I felt like the ghost of my past had returned, and I was about to face him once more, only this time, it was different. It wasn't just me. It was Emily. The meeting was arranged through a series of tense text messages. Daniel had insisted on meeting face-to-face, saying he needed to explain himself. The last thing I wanted was to listen to his lies, but I had to do this. For Emily. I had to understand who Daniel really was now, and whether he was truly capable of being the man Emily needed him to be. Or if, just like before, he would run. I didn't tell Emily exactly what time we were meeting. I couldn't. I didn't want her to see what I saw, how weak I felt, how foolish I still was when it came to him. Instead, I told her I was going to have a talk with him, that we would figure out the next steps together. The truth was, I wasn't sure I could protect her from the truth. I wasn't sure I could shield her from the man who had hurt both of us. But I was going to try. I had to. I walked into the cafe where we agreed to meet. The air was heavy, the smell of stale coffee filling the space. It was quieter than usual, the low hum of conversation in the background doing nothing to calm the nerves that ran wild inside me. The moment I stepped through the door, I saw him. He was sitting at a corner table, facing the door as if he were waiting for me to arrive. He had changed, but not by much. The same familiar face, handsome, but somehow older now. More hardened, like the years had chipped away at his soul. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to proceed. But the part of me that had once loved him, that had once trusted him, took over. I walked toward him, forcing my legs to move despite the storm raging inside me. Daniel looked up as I approached, his lips curling into a smile. That smile. The same one that had drawn me in all those years ago. It made my stomach turn now, but I tried to mask my disgust. "Sarah," he said softly, standing as I reached the table. His voice still held that same charm, that same warmth that had once made me feel like the most important person in the world. It almost worked. But it didn't. Not anymore. "Sit down," I said, my voice clipped, betraying none of the emotion swirling inside me. He did as I asked, his eyes not leaving mine as he sat back down. There was a moment of silence, one that hung between us like a thick fog. He shifted in his seat, his hands fidgeting with the napkin in front of him, but he didn't speak. I had to say something. I had to be the one to break the silence. "Emily's pregnant," I said, my words hanging in the air between us, sharp and heavy. His face shifted for a moment, surprise flickering across his features. But then he quickly masked it with an expression of concern. "I know. She told me." I swallowed, the anger rising up from deep within me. "And what exactly are you planning to do about it, Daniel?" He leaned forward, his elbows resting on the table. His eyes softened, as though he was trying to reach me, trying to make me understand. "I don't know what to do yet. I'm still processing it. But I want to be there for her. I want to help. I made a mistake, Sarah. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to hurt her." I could feel my pulse quicken, my hands tightening into fists. He never meant to hurt me? That was a lie I had heard too many times. He had always been good at saying the right things at the right moment, but his actions had always told a different story. "Help?" I echoed, my voice rising. "You think you can just waltz back into her life like nothing happened? Like you didn't leave me with a child to raise by myself, like you didn't abandon us? You think it's that easy?" His face faltered for just a second, and in that moment, I saw it. The guilt. The shame that he had buried so deep within himself. But it wasn't enough. It never would be. I know I made mistakes, he said, his voice quieter now. But I'm not the same person I was back then. I've changed. I want to make things right. I want to be a father to Emily, to be there for her. I leaned back in my chair, crossing my arms. I didn't want to hear his excuses. I didn't want to listen to his promises. I had heard it all before. The truth, Daniel, I said, my voice barely a whisper, but full of steel. The truth is, you can't just show up after all these years and expect everything to be okay. You don't get to fix things by throwing around a few kind words. You didn't care about us when it mattered. You left us. And now, after all this time, you think you can come back and just pretend like it's all fine? I felt the words escaping me before I could stop them, and I didn't care. I had been silent for so long, holding all this pain inside, but now, I couldn't keep it in any longer. The anger, the betrayal, it was spilling out, and I wasn't going to apologize for it. Not anymore. His face tightened, and for a moment, I thought he was going to say something else. But instead, he just sat there, looking at me with something that almost resembled regret. Almost. But not quite. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, he said, his voice low. But I'm asking for it anyway. I'm asking for a chance to make things right. I laughed, though it wasn't a laugh of amusement. It was bitter, mocking. A chance? Daniel, you don't deserve a chance. You didn't deserve me, and you certainly don't deserve Emily. She deserves better than you. She deserves a man who will stick around, who will take responsibility. You're not him. You never were. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. The finality of the moment hit me like a wave. I had said everything I needed to say. I had confronted him, and now, there was nothing left to do but walk away. I'm done here, I said, my voice steady, but my hands trembling. You're not welcome in her life. And you're not welcome in mine. I turned and walked away, not looking back. Not for him. Not for the man I had once loved, and certainly not for the man who had hurt me in ways that could never be undone. I had faced him. I had said what I needed to say. Now, it was time to move on. For Emily's sake. For my sake. I thought I was ready for this. But nothing could have prepared me for the weight of the words Daniel had said to me that day. I'm not the same person I was back then. Those words had stayed with me, echoing in the back of my mind long after the meeting had ended. And every time I replayed them, I felt that familiar sting of betrayal, the dull ache of a heart that had been broken too many times to count. It was a lie, wasn't it? He hadn't changed. He was the same man who had walked out on me, who had left me to deal with the consequences of his actions. No matter how many years had passed, no matter how many promises he made, he was still the man who had abandoned me when I needed him the most. And now, he wanted to do the same to my daughter. I stood at the kitchen window, staring out at the gray sky, my mind racing. The world outside seemed to reflect the storm inside me. The decisions I had to make, the future I was trying to protect. Everything felt like it was slipping through my fingers. I wanted to shield Emily from the pain of the past, but how could I protect her from something I hadn't been able to protect myself from? I was tired. Tired of carrying this burden alone. Tired of pretending like everything was fine when it wasn't. And most of all, I was tired of allowing the same cycle of pain to continue. It wasn't just my past anymore, it was Emily's future. The thought of breaking the cycle terrified me. How could I stop something that had been passed down through generations? How could I break free from the chains of betrayal and heartbreak that had bound me for so long? But I had to try. For Emily. For myself. The phone rang, snapping me out of my thoughts. I glanced at the screen and saw Emily's name flashing across it. My heart skipped a beat. I had been avoiding this conversation, Not because I didn't want to talk to her, but because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to help her understand the choices she needed to make. Mom? Her voice was tentative, hesitant, and it made my heart ache. She was scared. And I couldn't blame her. She was facing the same crossroads I had faced all those years ago, only this time, I wasn't sure I had the answers. Emily, what is it? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, trying to hide the worry I felt. I don't know what to do, Mom. I'm scared, she admitted, her voice breaking. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of her fear settle on my chest. I know, sweetheart. I know. I don't know if I can do this, she continued. I don't know if I can face him. I don't know if I can trust him. I could hear the confusion in her voice, the conflict that had taken root in her heart. She wanted to believe in him. She wanted to believe that Daniel could be the father figure she had always longed for. But she had also seen the same flaws in him that I had seen. She had witnessed the same patterns. And now, she was faced with the same choices. Emily, I said, my voice softer now, I can't tell you what to do. But I can tell you that you don't have to do this alone. We'll figure this out together. There was a pause on the other end of the line, and I could hear her sniffle before she spoke again. I don't want to be like you, Mom. I don't want to make the same mistakes. I took a deep breath, swallowing the lump in my throat. You're not me, Emily. You're your own person. And you don't have to follow in anyone's footsteps. You can make your own path. But you have to be strong enough to walk it. No one can make that choice for you. She trailed off, unsure of what to say next. I don't know if I'm strong enough. Yes, you are, I replied, my voice firm. You've already made it this far, haven't you? You're stronger than you think. She was quiet for a moment, and then she spoke again, her voice full of resolve. I think I need to see him. I need to know what he's going to do. I need to hear it from him, for myself. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Okay. I'll be there with you. We'll do this together. But remember, no matter what happens, you're not alone. You never will be. We ended the call, and I felt a sense of finality settle over me. Emily was ready to confront Daniel. She needed closure, just like I had. But unlike me, she had the opportunity to make her own decisions, to shape her own future. I thought about my own choices, the paths I had walked, and the mistakes I had made. I thought about how I had tried so hard to shield Emily from the pain of my past, but in doing so, I had inadvertently kept her from learning the lessons she needed to learn. I had tried to protect her from heartbreak, but in doing so, I had only delayed the inevitable. Now, I had to let her make her own choices. I had to trust her to find her own way, even if that meant facing the same heartbreak I had. Because sometimes, that's the only way we learn. I didn't know what the future held, or if Emily would ever truly forgive Daniel for the pain he had caused. But I knew one thing, I was breaking the cycle. I wasn't going to let the past define us anymore. We were going to heal, together. That night, as I sat in the quiet of our home, I made a promise to myself, I would no longer live in the shadows of my past. I would no longer carry the weight of Daniel's betrayal. I was letting go of the hurt, the anger, and the fear. And I would teach Emily to do the same. It wouldn't be easy. It never was. But I was ready. For the first time in years, I felt like I was ready to face the future, whatever it might bring. The weight of the decision felt heavier with each passing day. Emily had gone to meet Daniel. I had watched her leave with a mixture of fear and resolve in her eyes, and for a moment, I thought about stopping her, about telling her not to go, not to face him. But deep down, I knew I couldn't. She needed this. She needed closure, just like I had. She needed to see for herself whether Daniel could be the man he claimed he wanted to be, or if he would simply disappoint her as he had disappointed me. I spent hours pacing the house, unable to settle into anything. I couldn't focus on anything, everything felt like it was hanging by a thread. The truth was, I was scared. Scared of what Emily would find out. Scared of what she would do with that knowledge. Scared that in the end, she would walk away from me, the one person who had always been there for her. The one person who had tried to protect her from the very man who had torn my heart apart. When Emily finally came home, it was almost dusk. The sky was painted with streaks of purple and orange, but the light felt muted, like it was struggling to break through the clouds. She walked in slowly, her head down, her shoulders slumped. She didn't look at me right away. And that alone sent a wave of dread crashing over me. "Emily," I said softly, my heart pounding in my chest. "How did it go?" She didn't answer right away. She took a deep breath and then met my eyes. I could see the hurt in them, the confusion. And that was all it took for me to know everything I needed to know. I don't know what I expected, Mom. But it wasn't that. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it hit me like a slap in the face. I could see the disappointment, the pain, settling in her eyes like a heavy weight she couldn't lift. "He promised me things. He said he would be there for me, that we could be a family. But it was all just words, Mom. Just more lies." I felt my heart sink. I wanted to hold her, tell her everything would be okay, but the truth was, I didn't know if it would be. Not this time. This time, the hurt was deeper. She had walked into the same trap I had once walked into, only now, she was seeing it with her own eyes. "Tell me what happened, sweetheart," I said, my voice tight, but steady. "What did he say?" She sat down at the kitchen table, her fingers tracing the edge of a cup that had long since cooled. "He said he was sorry, that he didn't mean to hurt me. But I don't know, Mom. It didn't feel like an apology. It felt like an excuse. He said he wanted to be there, but then he just kept saying how he wasn't ready, how he needed more time to figure things out. And then, he left. He just left me sitting there, with all of these emotions and no answers." I closed my eyes for a moment, fighting back the tears that threatened to spill. I could hear the echo of my own past in her words. Daniel had always been good with words, too good. He could make you believe anything. He could promise the world, but when it came time to follow through, he was always gone. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," I said, my voice breaking for the first time. "I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry you had to face him alone." She shook her head, but I could see the tears pooling in her eyes. "No, Mom. It's not your fault. I wanted to believe him. I wanted him to be different. But I see it now. He's never going to change." I sat down beside her, taking her hand in mine, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like we were truly connected. She wasn't the little girl who needed my protection anymore. She was a young woman, facing the same painful truth I had once faced. And yet, she was stronger than I had ever been at her age. She wasn't falling for the lies anymore. She wasn't letting him manipulate her. "I'm proud of you, Emily," I whispered. "You did the right thing. You saw the truth, and you faced it. That's more than I ever did." She leaned her head on my shoulder, the weight of the day sinking into her bones. "I just wanted him to be the person he said he was. I wanted to believe that he could be a father to me." I kissed the top of her head, my heart heavy with sympathy. "I know, sweetheart. I know. And I wish I could make it easier for you. But sometimes, the hardest lesson is the one we learn the hard way. We have to let go of the things that hurt us. And sometimes, that means letting go of people who don't deserve us." Emily sat up straighter, looking me in the eyes. Do you think I'll ever be able to forgive him?" I didn't know the answer. I didn't know if forgiveness was something she could just give him. I didn't know if it was something she would ever want to give him. But I did know this: forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. It didn't mean excusing the hurt or the betrayal. It simply meant freeing yourself from the weight of the past so that you could move forward. "I think you'll forgive him when you're ready," I said. But forgiveness isn't for him, Emily. It's for you. So that you can heal. You don't have to forgive him today. You don't have to forgive him tomorrow. You can take as long as you need. She nodded slowly, as if she were taking in the truth of what I had said. And for the first time since this whole nightmare had started, I felt a sense of peace. Maybe not everything was okay. Maybe we hadn't healed all the wounds yet. But we were on our way. Together. I'm here for you, Emily, I said, my voice steady again. Always. She smiled faintly, a shadow of the pain still there but softer now, as if the burden had shifted, even if just a little. I know, Mom. I know. Wow. What a moment. To every single one of you watching right now, thank you for being part of this journey with Sarah and Emily. Your support means everything. But I have to ask, what do you think happens next? Will Daniel finally take responsibility, or disappear forever? Will Emily keep the baby, or make a shocking choice? And Sarah, can she truly let go, or will her past destroy her future? This family story is far from over. The next chapter? It will change everything. You won't see it coming. So tell me in the comments, what's your prediction? Who deserves forgiveness? Who's hiding the biggest secret? Drop your thoughts below. And if you're not subscribed yet, tap that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because part 3? It's coming soon, and you do not want to miss it. See you in the next one. Stay tuned. Part 3, The Final Reckoning, coming soon.